the next thing is we have to prove the differentiability of the function. Differentiability means what? This we have to prove that whether the function is differentiable, whether we can differentiate it or not. How? We will be differentiating the function by taking the left hand derivative and then the right hand derivative. If the definition, if the value of both the derivatives equal, then we say that the function is differentiable. So let us go for the question number 9. Question number 9 says prove that the function f is given by f of x is equal to modulus x minus 1, where x belongs to the real number, is not differentiable at x is equal to 1. That means we have to prove that function is not differentiable at x is equal to 1. What does it mean? That means left hand derivative at 1 is not equal to right hand derivative at 1. So like you have already studied the differentiation by first principle method, which is called also delta method. Through that we will find first left hand derivative and then right hand derivative. But before that, since this function is modulus, so we need to break this modulus and convert this function into general format. So here we go. Let us have the following conditions to reduce the question into normal form. If x is less than 1, why? As I told you, when you will be reducing it, then you have to search out for this turning point of the function. So that means here x minus 1, if it is equal to 0, at that point x must be equal to 1. So when x is equal to 1, the function gives you the value 0. So x is equal to 1 is the turning point. So now here we have only one term, so there will be two conditions. Either x is less than 1 or it is greater than or equal to 1. So first condition we follow that if x is less than 1, then f of x is equal to, since the x is less than 1 means 0.50, 1, minus 1, minus 2, minus 3 and so on. So always this function will be negative. So we have put minus sign outside and removed the modulus and minus x minus 1. Multiplying inside this minus x and minus into minus plus. So this is the value of the function when x is less than 1. If x is greater than or equal to 1, x is greater than or equal to 1 means if it is 1, 2, 3, 4 and so on, then you can see from here, you can observe easily modulus x minus 1, put x is equal to 1, its value is 0. That is considered as positive quantity. I have already explained. Then 2 minus 1, 1 positive, 3 minus 1, 2, 4 minus 1, 3, everything is positive. So then f of x will be positive only, x minus 1. Remove the modulus function. So we write in a general form, therefore function equals to minus x plus 1 when x is less than 1, this one, and x minus 1 when x is greater than or equal to 1. So now you got like left hand limit or right hand limit. This is left hand function and this is right hand function. So you need to put these values of the function in the coming formula. Now left hand derivative, not left hand limit. Now we are proving differentiability we are taking. We have to prove that this function is not differentiable. So left hand derivative f dash minus x is equal to limit h tends to 0 f of a minus h minus f of a upon minus h. This minus h for left hand and this minus for left hand derivative, which is equal to, this is formula. We will put the value limit h tends to 0 f of, since the value of a is in this case is, it is given, prove that this function is not differentiable at x is equal to 1. So 1 will be treating 1 will be taken as a. So f of 1 minus h minus f of 1 upon minus h. Now this is general format. We will now put the value of the function from here. F of x in case of left hand function is minus x plus 1. So which is equal to limit h tends to 0 minus, and this is x. So x is minus x, this 1 minus x, so x is 1 minus h. So minus time 1 minus h plus 1 and then minus f of 1. And when x is equal to 1, exact 1. So then 1 minus 1, what is this? X is equal to 1. Then 1 and 1, this also minus 1 and plus 1 will cancel. It is equal to this 0 upon minus h, which is equal to, now look at here, minus 1. This is minus 1 multiplying inside. This minus 1 will cancel with this 1 and then minus also, this minus into minus plus, and this is minus. H and h will also cancel, but here we will have plus value and here it is minus. So minus will be taken here. So the value of left hand derivative is minus 1, is equation number 1. Similarly, we will go for right hand derivative. Right hand derivative is equal to f dash plus x is equal to limit h tends to 0 f of a plus h minus f of a upon plus h. This is formula, and the value we are going to put again 1. So limit h tends to 0 f of 1 plus h minus f of 1 upon plus h. Now the value of x is 1 plus h here. So this is x minus 1. So instead of this x, we will put 1 plus h. So here we go, limit h tends to 0. In place of x, we have 1 plus h. Then minus 1 is outside, minus f of 1. F of 1 means the value of x is 1. Again 1 and 1 cancel. So it is 0 upon plus h. Then minus 1 and then plus 1 is also cancelled. So h and h remaining. So this h and this h is also cancelled, which is equal to plus 1. Equation number 2. As you can see now, the minus 1 can never be equal to plus 1. So you understood that left hand derivative is not equal to right hand derivative. Hence the function will not be differentiable. From 1 and 2, since left hand derivative is not equal to right hand derivative, this one, hence function is not differentiable or derivable at x is equal to 1. That was the point we have taken. So dear children, one thing now you must notice here. One question of almost similar nature, but there were two terms when we have taken exercise 5.1 while proving continuity. At that time we had broken this function into a simpler one, and then at that time we proved that this function is continuous. This modulus function is continuous. Now almost same thing, modulus function we have taken and we proved that it is not differentiable. So now you can generalize that. What you can generalize? This conclusion you can generalize. Every differentiable function must be a continuous function, but it's not compulsory that continuous function is also differentiable. So understood, the vice versa may not be true. The best example is modulus function. Since we have seen in the previous exercise also that modulus function was continuous, but here we have seen that modulus function is not differentiable. The best example is modulus function. If somebody asks, or it is asked in the question examination, which we have seen in exercise 5.1, that modulus function was continuous function, but from above question number 9, it is clear that continuous function, that modulus function is not a differentiable function. Okay, so means, once more I am repeating, here we conclude that every differentiable function, if the function is differentiable, it will be 100% continuous, but its vice versa is not always true, that every continuous function must be, or it should be, a differentiable. It is not necessary. Now the next question on the based on same concept, that differentiability. Question number 10, prove that the greatest integer function defined by f of x is equal to greatest integer function x is greater than 0 and less than 3. That means value of x is between 0 and 3 is not differentiable at x is equal to 1 and 2. So as we have seen in the previous exercise also, that the greatest integer function is not continuous. It is neither continuous nor differentiable. You should keep this thing in your mind, because when you are writing 1.1, its value under greatest integer function is 1, and when you are writing 0.9, its value under greatest integer function is equal to 0. Less than or equal to that should be its integer. So let us go for the solution of this question. Let us check its differentiability at first point, that is at x is equal to 1. Then we'll check at x is equal to 2. So since the function is a greatest integer function, that is f of x equals to greatest integer function x. Thus that means if x equals to 1.5 for example, then f of 1.5 equals to greatest integer function 1.5, its value will be 1 only. Even if it is x is equal to 1.9, in that case also its value will be 1 only here, because f of x is equal to 1.9, then f of 1.9 is equal to greatest integer function of 1.9 equals to 1. So we use this definition here in this question and proceed as follows. Now left hand derivative at x is equal to 1 equals to f dash minus x is equal to limit h tends to 0, f of a minus h minus f of a is just formula we are writing, and minus h equals to limit h tends to 0. The point we have taken 1, so we are writing 1 minus h minus f of 1 upon minus h. Now we'll go for the value of the function limit h tends to 0. 1 minus h we will put under greatest integer function 1 minus h, then minus f of 1, that will remain 1 upon minus h. As I told you, now the value of this h is very small quantity, let it be 0.1, so 1 minus 0.1 would be 0.9, and 0.9 is nothing but it is 0, so its value is limit h tends to 0, 0 minus 1 upon minus h. Then it should be equal to limit h tends to 0 minus 1 upon minus h. Then minus and minus will cancel, and then when we are taking limit h tends to 0, its overall value will be undefined. So its value is undefined. Equation number 1. Now the right hand derivative at x is equal to 1. F dash plus x is equal to limit h tends to 0, f of a plus h minus f of a upon h, which is equal to limit h tends to 0, f of 1 plus h minus f of 1 upon h. Now we'll put in place of x 1 plus h, and in place of 1 only. Limit h tends to 0, greatest integer function 1 plus h minus greatest integer function 1 upon h. Since it is 1 and already integer, so its value will remain as it is 1, but 1 plus h means, for example, we have taken h is equal to 0.1, so 1 plus 0.1 will be equal to 1.1, which is nothing but it will be equal to 1 only. So its value is equal to 1 minus 1. This is 1 minus 1 upon h. 1 and 1 cancel, so 0 upon h is 0, which is equal to equation number 2. From 1 and 2, it's clear that left hand derivative is not equal to right hand derivative. Therefore function is not differentiable at x is equal to 1. Or derivable at x is equal to 1. Similarly, it can be proved It can be proved for x is equal to 2. Same way you can prove, and just you have to put here, wherever I have put 1 you will be putting 2 and then solving it like this. So 2.1 here value should be 2, and here 2 minus something, its value will become 1, where 0 is coming, there you have to put 1. So same way you will be proving. I don't think there would be any problem for you. So this way you can prove it. Hence, that's all about this last question of this exercise 5.2. Now we start our next exercise, that is exercise number 5.3, a simple and general way of differentiating the functions. So here we start find dy over dx. That means, now one thing you need to be very particular over here, that this d over dx is called an operator, and here x is called independent variable. It is independent, free, and y is a function, or y is called here dependent variable. That means y has to move with the permission of x. The way x will ask, y has to go. Dependent variable. So means now we are differentiating. What does it mean? Dy upon dx means y has been differentiated with respect to x. That only the meaning of this dy upon dx. That means d over dx and then y, or it can be also written as d over dx and then y means f of x, and that is also sometime we are writing it as f dash x. F dash x means we have differentiated it once. So let us go for the question. Question is 2x plus 3y is equal to sine x. Very simple question, very easy and very short. Now you have to find out dy upon dx. Now look at the operator. Operator is x. That means you are asked to differentiate this function with respect to x only. You need not to worry about what is given here, y is given here. For example, you are given Gujarat and differentiate Gujarat with respect to x. What you will be doing? You will be writing it as d over dx. Since Gujarat is asked, we are asked to differentiate Gujarat with respect to x. So we have written d over dx with respect to x, and then we will write here Gujarat. Similarly, if y comes, we will write dy upon dx. If z comes, if we want to differentiate z with respect to x, so we will write it as dz upon dx. Understood? So now, for the solution, we will write that differentiating. What differentiating? Differentiating this whole, both sides. Differentiating with respect to x. Why with respect to x? Because of this d over dx. We get what we get. We are differentiating. We have applied operator d over dx. That means 2x plus 3y. The left hand side we have differentiated with respect to x. Similarly, the right hand side d over dx sine x, which is nothing but we have distributed this operator inside d over dx into 2x plus d over dx, and then differentiation of 3y is equal to the differentiation of sine x is equal to cos x. Now the next step is this 2 I write here. 2 is a constant, so it will go outside, and then d over dx is this operator. This operator I have written here, and then x is remaining inside, only variable you will keep. Then dx and dx cancel, or otherwise also 1 minus 1 d over dx, and then x means its power is 1. So the formula is nx power n minus 1. So 1 into x power 1 minus 1. So 1 and 1 cancel. So 1 into x power 0 means 1 into 1 is equal to 1. So the solution is 1. So the differentiation of x with respect to x is 1, and then plus this 3 we have taken again outside, and then variable y is remaining as it is dy upon dx. Now this is the term which we were looking for, because that has been asked in the question, that find the value of dy upon dx. Now we will transfer everything to the right hand side. So 3 into dy upon dx is equal to cos x, and then this 2 has gone to the right hand side. Now what we will do, 3 dividing both sides by 3. So dy upon dx is equal to cos x minus 2 upon 3 is the final solution of the question. So just you need to understand simple differentiation, whatever it is given. So dy upon dx, since y and x are different, that's why these are not cancelled. Here this 2 we have taken outside here, and then since dx upon dx both are same, so these are cancelled. Sometime question may be like that, that x is given and you are asked to differentiate it with respect to y. So what you will be doing, you will be writing d over dy, since we are asked to differentiate with respect to y. So operator will be d over dy, and then variable x we have to differentiate. Now this time x is dependent variable and y is independent. We will try some more questions, then everything will be clear for you. The question number 2 is also very simple, that you can attempt. I am taking question number 3. Ax plus by square is equal to cos y. Now you have to remember here, with this a, b, k, etc., everything you have to a, b, c, d, etc., then k, then l, and whatever it is, you have to take all these alphabet as a constants, and x, y, and sometime t also as a variable. So we are going to differentiate both sides with respect to x, like what we did in question number 1. So differentiating with respect to x, we get what we get. Look at here, d over dx operator applied to the first term, this ax, and the d over dx operator is applied for the second term, that is by square, is equal to d over dx cos y, the right hand side. Now differentiating, so a is constant went out, and then d over dx, as I explained in previous question, this is x and both are cancelled. So we have here a only remaining, so a we have written here, and then b went out, and then y square is the variable which we will be targeting next time, and d over dx the right hand side as it is, we have not differentiated the right hand side. Then this is equal to, look at here, a plus b. Now y square will be treated like what we were doing, like x square d over dx, x square what we were doing, 2x into dx upon dx. In that case this term was cancelling and we have only 2x. But in case of y square, now this will come to, look at here, suppose here it is y, then what will happen, 2y dy upon dx, that only we have written here, and is equal to the differentiation of cos y with respect to x. So then since the differentiation of cos is minus sin y, and since y is not the same variable with what we are we differentiating, so what we have to do here, that we need to differentiate this y again, because for example cos x I am writing, so as I told you, the first attack is at cos, first time derivative, and then differentiating x again with respect to x only. In case of it is, for example, it is cos and then angle is Gujarat, then you will be differentiating cos first, the first step, and then the Gujarat at a second point. So first of all we will be writing it as minus sign Gujarat, and then differentiation of Gujarat. So that is our, I hope you understood this concept. So what we are going to do, this a is as it is, and then plus b 2y dy upon dx. The right hand side, the differentiation of cos y is minus sin y, and then differentiation of angle y is dy upon dx. Now we will take dy common, dy upon dx common from both the sides. So what we did, 2, this is this one, 2by, and then we have taken this to the left hand side here, plus sin y dy upon dx is equal to, this a is alone, so we have taken to the right hand side here. Then therefore dy upon dx, this whole thing will go to the right hand side, whole thing. So minus a upon 2by plus sin y. That's all about the question, and then derivative of this third question. Then next question number 4 is xy plus y square, and then tan y plus y. Now look at here, x is variable, y is also variable. So the interesting part of this question is, this is product of variables. So this is first function and second function. You have to use product rule of derivative in this term xy. Then y square is as it is, its derivative will with respect to x will be 2y dy upon dx. The derivative of tan x will be sec square x only, because it is, we are already x, so dx upon dx is 1, nothing to worry about. And then derivative of this y will be dy upon dx. That is simple thing. So for that, differentiating with respect to x, so d over dx, this is xy plus y square here, and then d over dx the right hand side, which is equal to, distributing this operator inside, d over dx xy plus d over dx y square is equal to d over dx tan x and d over dx y, which is equal to, this product rule we have used, so y into differentiation of x plus x into differentiation of y. So that is the differentiation of d over dx xy. Then d over dx y square will be 2y dy upon dx. That is the differentiation of left hand side. This is equal to, the differentiation of tan x is equal to sec square x plus the differentiation of y is as it is, dy upon dx, what we have written. Now there are so many dy upon dx's, so we need to take all these common, and then we will be transferring to the right hand side with the terms which are non-derivative. So y into 1, this d over dx cancel, this term cancel, so y plus x into dy upon dx, that is independently we have written here, plus 2y dy upon dx plus x square plus dy upon dx. Nothing, no change at all. All these things are there only. So x dy upon dx here, dy upon dx, dy upon dx, and this dy upon dx is also taken to the left hand side. So then dy upon dx taken common from all these terms, so x, this one here, this x plus 2y here, and then this dy upon dx we have taken to the left hand side, so minus 1 for that, is equal to sec square this one x, and then this y has gone to the right hand side, so minus y. That's all. Now we will be dividing dy upon dx is equal to sec square minus y upon this whole term x plus 2y minus 1. That's all the derivative of question number 4.